The ACE is one of the easiest ARs to handle in PUBG. While it does have the lowest damage of any other 7.62 AR, it makes up for it with its moderate fire rate and exceptional handling. In this video, we're going to be doing 5 spray tests per foregrip and muzzle attachment, each with both heavy and tactical stock, to find out what attachments give you the best recoil control for the ACE32. Starting off with 5 sprays with no attachments, while it does have a pretty significant vertical climb, horizontally it handles pretty well and the first 10 shots have a pretty decent grouping, even with no attachments. The first muzzle attachment we'll be using is the Suppressor. We'll be starting with the vert grip and tac stock, and while the vert grip does provide a 15% vertical recoil control buff, and with the tac stock only providing that 10% muzzle rise control, which only slightly helps sway when firing, was not enough to keep the ACE in check. But with the vert grip paired with the heavy stock, we saw a significant reduction in both vertical and horizontal recoil. And when doing a side-by-side, you can tell the vert grip paired with the heavy stock is the way to go. Only downside is you get that negative 10% in ADS speed. Half grip paired with the tac stock actually didn't do too bad with the Suppressor, and with only having that 8% horizontal recoil buff, it actually handled pretty similar to the angled grip. But when the half grip is paired with the heavy stock, despite having that 18% buff in both horizontal and vertical recoil control, handled incredibly poor. All 5 sprays were incredibly inconsistent and had pretty modest horizontal deviations. And in the side-by-side horizontal comparison, despite my poor handling of recoil, the half grip and tac stock did feel a lot better to shoot. The angled grip paired with the tac stock did exactly what it's supposed to do, and while it had significant vertical climb, once the recoil picks the direction it wants to go to, it stays on track. But when the angled grip paired with the heavy stock, we get a total of 35% horizontal recoil control, which made the groupings a lot tighter, and we get to maintain a neutral ADS speed as both attachments cancel each other out with a negative and plus 10%. In the horizontal side-by-side, the heavy stock felt a lot easier to shoot. It just depends if you're a stickler for ADS speed. The lightweight grip paired with the tac stock had incredibly tight groupings within the first 3 to 4 shots, had fair horizontal sway, but suffered when it came to vertical recoil. But when the lightweight was matched with the heavy stock, it actually performed surprisingly well. While vertical recoil was adequate, it actually did really well horizontally. In the horizontal side-by-side, the lightweight grip paired with the heavy stock is clearly the winner here, and provided better horizontal and vertical recoil consistency between both stocks when paired with the Suppressor. Onto the thumb grip paired with the tac stock, which did really well within the first 5 to 10 shots, but after that, sprays became incredibly inconsistent and went all over. But when the thumb was paired with the heavy stock, the vertical and horizontal recoil groupings were a lot tighter, and since the thumb grip has that 40% ADS speed, you still get exceptional handling even with the heavy stock's negative 10% ADS. In the horizontal side-by-side, you can tell as soon as you start shooting with the tac stock, sprays become incredibly wobbly, while the thumb grip provides a lot more consistency overall. Reviewing Suppressor sprays using all 5 foregrip attachments along with the tac stock and heavy stock, I'm going to give this one to the lightweight grip paired with the heavy stock. While it wasn't the best vertically, it had the most consistency horizontally and felt the easiest to shoot when paired with the Suppressor. Now moving on to the flash hider. When paired with the vert grip and tac stock, getting a total of 25% vertical recoil control and plus 10% in horizontal, this combo performed exceptionally well with really tight groupings within the first 12 shots. But when paired with the heavy stock, we get a whopping 35% in vertical recoil control, along with 20% in horizontal. Between all 5 sprays, this combo had amazing consistency, amazing vertical recoil reduction, and basically no sway horizontally. When doing the horizontal side-by-side test, if your goal is to reduce horizontal recoil as much as possible when using the flash hider, the heavy stock is clearly the way to go. The half grip and pair with the tac stock had incredibly tight groupings on 4 out of the 5 sprays, and actually handled horizontal recoil fairly well. But with the half grip and heavy stock's combined total of 18% vertical and horizontal recoil reduction, we see a significant reduction in vertical recoil as well as horizontal sway, which is clearly evident in our side-by-side horizontal comparison, where the combined total of 28% in horizontal and vertical recoil control come into play, making the half grip and heavy stock the best to use with the flash hider. Moving on to the angled grip and tac stock, when paired with the flash hider, we get a 35% horizontal recoil control, which gave us pretty tight groupings across all 5 sprays, with a very minor reduction in vertical recoil. The heavy stock doing its job brought the vertical recoil down considerably, while still providing some decent groupings horizontally. When viewing the angled grip paired with both stocks side by side, knowing vertical recoil is still going to be a challenge when using the angled grip and paired with the flash hider. I think it just boils down to preference if you prefer the ADS speed boost. Lightweight grip and tac stock paired really well with the flash hider, and while it didn't do the best vertically, it had decent horizontal sway between all 5 sprays. When the lightweight grip is paired with the heavy stock, we saw a pretty significant reduction in vertical recoil, but only had decent groupings within the first 10 to 15 shots. In the horizontal side-by-side comparison, it was kind of a coin toss between these two. I'd probably lean more towards the tac stock because you get a tighter grouping within the first couple shots, but probably wouldn't be picking up the lightweight grip with the flash hider. The thumb grip and pair with the tac stock and flash hider gives us 20% in vertical recoil control, plus 10% horizontally, and 50% ADS speed. 4 out of the 5 sprays showed incredibly tight groupings with decent horizontal control. When the thumb grip and heavy stock are paired with the flash hider, we get 30% in vertical recoil control and 20% horizontally. And while we got a pretty significant reduction vertically, horizontally, it was mediocre at best. When comparing the thumb grip with the heavy and tac stock side by side with the flash hider, I would lean more towards the tac stock since it provides more consistency horizontally, and you get that sweet 50% ADS speed boost. And when comparing all spray patterns side by side between all 5 foregrip attachments and both stocks when paired with the flash hider, clear winner here is going to be the vert grip and paired with the heavy stock, since it gave us the tightest groupings both vertically and horizontally. It made shooting the ACE feel incredibly easy. Up next is the Compensator. The vertical grip and tack stock when paired with the Compensator provide a 30% vertical recoil reduction along with a 10% horizontal, which does an amazing job handling that vertical climb and provides really tight groupings within the first 7 to 8 shots, but starts to suffer horizontally as the spray continues. The comp when paired with the vert grip and heavy stock provides an insane 40% in vertical recoil reduction and 20% horizontally. With these three attachments combined, they provided the tightest groupings compared to any other attachment on this test, with the biggest trade-off being that negative 10% in ADS speed. When doing the horizontal comparison, the heavy stock and vert grip combo made handling the ACE feel incredibly easy with very minimal pull down and barely required any micro corrections horizontally. Half grip when paired with the tack stock and Compensator provided a 23% vertical recoil reduction, 18% horizontally, and actually didn't perform that bad. Vertically, it performed exactly the same as the vert grip when paired with the tack stock, but did way better horizontally. The same could not be said when the half grip was paired with the heavy stock. Despite having a total of 33% in vertical recoil reduction and 28% horizontally, all 5 sprays showed consistent groupings within the first 5 to 10 shots, but they started to veer off as the spray continued. In the horizontal side by side, you could tell the tack stock when paired with the half grip is a clear winner here. While it's going to require a little bit more of a vertical pull down, the ADS speed boost you get from the tack stock, paired with how well it performed horizontally, makes shooting the ACE feel a lot easier. The angled grip when paired with the half stock and the Compensator provides the greatest horizontal recoil reduction with a total of 35%, and while you're only getting 15% in vertical recoil control, it handles pretty well considering you're getting a 20% ADS boost. The angled grip when paired with the heavy stock and Compensator provides a crazy 45% in horizontal recoil reduction and 25% vertically, which works incredibly well for mitigating vertical recoil and negating any horizontal deviations. When comparing both sprays side by side, while the tack stock did provide a little bit of a heavier pull down, controlling the spray felt a little more consistent when compared to the heavy stock. The lightweight grip and paired with the tack stock surprisingly had pretty tight groupings within the first 3 to 4 shots and very minor inconsistencies horizontally. And surprisingly, the vertical recoil was almost on par with the vert and the half grip. When the lightweight grip is paired with the heavy stock, we saw incredibly tight groupings within the first 6 to 7 shots, and while only 4 out of the 5 sprays were really consistent, again it performed almost on par with the vert grip or half grip. Doing the side-by-side comparison, the lightweight grip performed pretty similar between both stocks, with the only differentiating factor here being preference, if you prefer a faster ADS speed or a little bit less pull down vertically. Thumb grip paired with a tactical stock and Compensator gives you a 25% vertical recoil control, 10% horizontal recoil control, and an insane 50% ADS speed. Vertically, it performed on par with the vert and the half grip, while horizontally it was consistent with the first 12 to 13 shots, with very minor inconsistencies as the sprays continued. Thumb grip and heavy stock when paired with the Compensator gives us 35% in vertical recoil control and 20% horizontally. Vertically, it performed equal if not better than the vert grip or half grip, with 4 out of the 5 sprays showing pretty decent horizontal control. When comparing both side by side, I'm probably going to give this one to the tack stock, as the horizontal groupings across all 5 sprays were incredibly tight, and plus you get that 50% ADS speed boost. Now looking at all spray patterns for all 5 foregrip attachments when paired with the tack and heavy stock when using the Compensator, I'm going to give this one to the vert grip and heavy stock combo, since it offers very strong vertical recoil reduction and has some of the tightest horizontal groupings across all sprays, with the only downside being that negative 10% in ADS speed. And lastly, the muzzle brake. When used with the vert grip and the tack stock, you're only getting a 23% vertical recoil reduction and 8% horizontally. While it didn't perform that well vertically, horizontally all 5 sprays were pretty consistent, with each spray having its own individual side-to-side sway. When the muzzle brake is paired with the vert grip and heavy stock, we get a 33% vertical recoil reduction and 18% horizontal. While vertical recoil was significantly better using the heavy stock, after the first 6 to 7 shots, the sprays became fairly inconsistent. When comparing both side by side, the muzzle brake's camera shake reduction is nice. The vertical grip paired with the tack stock and heavy stock don't really do much to help with horizontal recoil. The half grip and tack stock when paired with the muzzle brake give you a 16% in both horizontal and vertical recoil control and had incredibly tight groupings within the first 8 to 9 shots. After that, all 5 sprays kind of went off in their own direction. The half grip and heavy stock when paired with the muzzle brake gives us 26% in horizontal and vertical recoil control and has incredibly tight groupings within the first 7 to 8 shots with very minor deviations horizontally as the sprays continue. When comparing both side by side, the half grip with the heavy stock are the clear winner here. All 3 attachments give us better horizontal and vertical recoil control, plus with that camera shake reduction, makes shooting the ACE feel really good. The angled grip and tack stock when paired with the muzzle brake gives us 33% in horizontal recoil control, 8% vertically, and 20% ADS speed. And while the muzzle brake doesn't really do anything to help vertically, each individual spray had virtually no horizontal sway. But the angled grip paired with the heavy stock and muzzle brake gives us a crazy 43% in horizontal recoil control and 18% vertically, and easily gives us the tightest horizontal groupings compared to every other attachment in this video. Look at this line, dude, it's crazy. Doing the side-by-side horizontal test, it's not even a competition here. Angled grip and heavy stock paired with the muzzle brake makes the ACE feel incredibly easy to shoot. And while it does require a little bit of a heavier pull down vertically, you basically don't have to worry about horizontal recoil at all. The lightweight grip when paired with the tack stock and muzzle brake didn't do all that well vertically, but had insanely tight groupings within the first 5 to 6 shots, with very little horizontal deviations for about 2/3 of the entire clip. But when the lightweight grip was paired with the heavy stock and muzzle brake, there was a decent improvement to the vertical recoil with a little bit wider spread horizontally. When comparing the lightweight grip and muzzle brake with both stock side by side, they have very similar performance where they have incredibly tight groupings within the first 5 to 10 shots and start to spread out as the spray continues. The thumb grip when paired with the tack stock and muzzle brake gives us 18% vertical recoil control, 8% horizontally, and 50% ADS speed. While it handled vertical and horizontal recoil decently, and while all 5 sprays veered left or right, each individual spray really didn't have that much horizontal sway. Thumb grip paired with the heavy stock and muzzle brake gave us 28% vertical recoil control and 18% horizontally. The groupings between all 5 sprays were incredibly consistent. Vertical recoil control was on par with both the half grip and vert grip, and while it's no angled grip, it still handled horizontal recoil fairly well. Side by side, it's easy to see the heavy stock does a great job mitigating horizontal recoil, where the tack stock becomes a little squirrely and inconsistent. And when reviewing all the side-by-side comparisons between all 5 foregrip attachments, heavy stock and tack stock included for the muzzle brake, I'm actually going to give this one to the heavy stock and angled grip. While the thumb grip and heavy stock made shooting the ACE feel really good when using the muzzle brake, the angled grip and paired with the heavy stock made shooting the ACE feel incredibly easy. Vertical recoil is way easier to control than horizontal, so when using the angled grip and heavy stock with the muzzle brake, knowing all you have to do is just pull straight down, and you're still getting a net positive regarding ADS speed. So in conclusion, the best attachments to use with the ACE based on all the spray patterns that have been analyzed in this video. For the suppressor, I opted for the lightweight grip and heavy stock. With that 30% initial shot recoil control, all 5 sprays showed incredibly tight groupings within the first 5 to 10 shots, and it offered a nice balance between horizontal and vertical recoil control. For the muzzle brake, I'm going to go with the angled grip and the heavy stock. While you're going to have some considerable vertical recoil, look how tight these 5 sprays are. This is crazy. For the flash hider, the vert grip and the heavy stock were the clear winners. With a 35% horizontal recoil reduction and 20% horizontally, the groupings on this were incredibly tight, which is crazy because I don't really hear a lot of people talking about the flash hider that much. But when paired with these 2 attachments, it works really well. For the compensator, I'm again going with the vert grip and heavy stock. With that insane 40% in vertical recoil reduction, it makes shooting the ACE require very minimal pull down, and with a 20% in horizontal recoil reduction, it made handling the ACE feel incredibly easy. And there you have it, folks. This video was very time consuming, but really interesting results. I now know what attachments I'm going to be using with the ACE moving forward. If you guys found this video helpful, please feel free to like and share. If you have a specific gun you want tested next, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys on the next one.